Okay, so we shall start now. So the data link control. So the two function of data link layer is first one is data link control and second one is media access control. So these two main function is performed by the data link layer. So here we are going to deal with the data link control. So the data link control deals with the design and procedure of the communication between two adjacent nodes. So जो next first and next node, the adjacent node which is connected to that node, how the data will going to flow, that will be taken care by your data link control. So it is more or less point to point communication, or you can say node to node communication will be there. So here we are going to discuss about the functionality of the data link layer. Now the second function of the data link layer is media access control, how to share the link between different resources. So these two things we are going to see in this chapter. So the data link control contains various things like framing, flow, error control, and software implementation of protocol that provides the smooth and reliable transmission between frames, reliable transmission of frames between two nodes. So it will give that flexibility. So if you send a message from one node to another node, or if you are sending a message from A to F, the message is passing through the different nodes. So he will take care of that. This thing that if one message is passed from the second node, then both node should be appropriately sending the message. So there should not be any uh, error, or it should not have overflow. So these kind of things will be taken care by your data link control. So every time, if you want to control a flow control, then you need to write some set of instruction, or you need to write a protocol. So we are having various protocols or set of rules implemented on the software which is going to run between the two nodes while data is exchanging between those two nodes. So here we are going to discuss about two nodes, two types of communication. One is noiseless and second one is noisy. So noisy is real, noiseless is ideal. If it is ideal, how it is going to going to move that data. So we have already discussed about the noisy and noiseless channels. So these two channels are always available in your transmission medium. So here we are going to start with the framing. So as we know, our whole packet is very big. So you can't transmit that whole message on your transmission line. So what you need to do, you need to break those messages in small packets. Now, when you are breaking those messages in small packets, for the reliable transmission, you need to add some overhead bit, which will take care of error detection and correction, flow control, and some other information. So that's like destination address, source address. So you need to add all those things. So when you combine all those things, it will make a frame. So this is a frame. So if you start with the framing, the data link needs to pack bits into the frame. So on the physical layer, on the bottom of the OSI layer, we are having the bits. Now you need to convert those bits into frames. So you need to pack those bits into a bunch of bits into a frame. So that is known as frame. So that each frame is distinguishable from another. So if you are sending A is sending it a frame to F, or a frame A is sending a frame to G node. So both, how you are going to distinguish that which frame is going to send where. So it should be distinguishable. Every frame should be distinguishable. So our postal adder practices a type of framing. The simple act of inserting a letter into an envelope separates one piece of information from another. The envelope serves as a delimiter. So what the envelope will do? Envelope will define the sender and the receiver address on the postal system, and if that is carried by the many carrier facility. So if you are sending a postal courier from Rajkot to Bangalore, so a lots of courier facility can be there, or they are taking whole of bunch that uh, all the letters together. Now it is moving from the different facilities, like first he will reach to Ahmedabad hub, then it can reach to Mumbai hub, then it can reach to Bangalore hub. So a lots of packets are received over there. By seeing those addresses, you classify where you need to move. So in this way, this is the framing has been done so that the packet can also move in this way only. So you need to add source address, destination address, all those things you need to add. So in the framing, data link layer separates a message from one source to a destination or form of message to another destination by adding a address. So by adding a sender address and a destination address. So these two address you are adding to distinguish the different receiver from the same sender. तो एक ही सेंडर है और मल्टीपल रिसीवर्स है तो आपको एड्रेसेस चाहिए, तो वो एड्रेसेस आपको क्लासिफाई करने में यूजफुल होंगे. और इन द नोड्स दे आर यूजिंग स्विचेस, so those switches is going to relay your messages, so he should know where your message should be relayed or where you should move that path. So as we have in the previous chapter we have covered that there are various types of switching. So virtual switching, datagram switching, you have seen for the packet movement. So they need to have the source and destination address. So that should be there. Now here in this chapter we are going to discuss about mainly two types of framing. One is fixed framing, second one is various size of framing. So the frames what you are sorry, the number of bits you are packed in one frame can be fixed or can be variable. So if it is fixed, then it is known as fixed size framing. If it is variable, then it is known as variable size framing. So ATM is one of the example for fixed size framing. And any other examples, if you take internet and or other things, they are having variable size framing. Depends upon the size of packet. So they will divide the packet in the different frame size. So now we mainly in the variable size framing, we are having two approaches. So fixed size framing, we are not having a we are having a fixed structure, but that is not important for us. Mainly the important thing is how you can define the variable size framing. So it is having two types of approaches. One is character oriented approaches and second one is bit oriented approaches. So here we are showing the frame of character oriented approaches. So here what will happen, whatever data you are sending like A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, those are sending in form of characters, ASCII code or EDBIC code. So we are using those codes to transmit. Now the header will have normally carry the source and destination addresses. So the first part, which is header, which will contain your source and destination addresses. The trailer trailer bit or trailer information will carry the error correction and detection codes. So that will be here. So if you are using parity bit or Hamming code, the bits will be added in the last. And these flags, you can say start and stop bit. So this flag will indicate that your message is starting from here. So flag is added at the beginning and end of the frame, so that you can recognize that frame is starting and frame is ending. Just a minute. Okay. Now this type of framing, character type of framing, the other thing which is marked in blue color, that is your message, which is provided from the upper layer. So these are the various things which is present in your character oriented framing. So this technique is very much popular for the exchanging of text. So when you are sending the text, the flag is not needed over there. But when you are sending images, audios, videos, then this information will need the flag. So first flag and stop flag. So this you can add. These are optional. So you need to define the protocols how you are going to send that data. So flag is some you can say flag is having some bits. So if what will happen if some same kind of information encounters in between the data. So say for example, I will tell you like 01 is my ending flag, or 01 is my starting flag, or 10 is my starting flag. Now in your data we are having a stream 01. So what will happen? It will realize that our frame has been ended. Although our frame is not ended, but it will realize that thing. So to fix this problem, we are having a byte stuffing strategy. So in this byte stuffing, what we are going to do, a special byte is added to the data section of the frame. With the same pattern of the flag. or these are known as escape characters. So escape characters we are entering so that they can recognize, okay, this is not the end of our frame. So after a regular interval of time, we are going to do that. Now in the byte stuffing data, after every escape character, it allows the presence of flag. So फ्लैग खत्म होने से पहले हम एक escape कैरेक्टर देंगे जिससे आपको पता चलेगा कि अभी डेटा एंड हुआ है. अगर वो escape फ्लैग नहीं आया है तो यू हैव टू वेट फॉर दैट. So you can see the byte stuffing and unstuffing. We are having a escape characters and then we are having the flags. So the above is from the sender side and the bottom is for receiver side. So sender, we are having this blue color is our data. Then we are added escape characters. We are added flags, headers, trailers. So header will contain the source destination and source address and destination address. Trailer will contain error correction and detection bit. Escape characters are used to avoid the detection of flags inside your data, and flags are used to recognize from where the data is starting and from where the data is ending. Then at the receiver end, you have to remove those overhead bits. So these overhead bits are has been removed here. So this is the byte stuffing. Byte stuffing is a process of adding one extra byte whenever when there is a flag or escape character is in the text. Now we are going to move to the next stuffing technique, bit oriented protocol. So this is the character oriented protocol where we are sending a characters in form of ASCII code or DBIC code. Most probably you are so is going to send ASCII codes. So in this bit oriented protocol, the data section of a frame is a sequence of bits. 0101 sequence will be there to be interpreted by the upper layer as a text, graphics, audio, video, and so on. So anything can be interpreted like 01 will be there. So that 01 will contain the information of the audio, it can contain the information of graphics or anything. So we need to separate one frame to another frame. So for separating, we are having this flag. So this is a special sequence that has been used mostly for all the detection. So 0, 6, 1 and again 0. Same way Taylor bit will be there. So these two bits will be always known as flags or delimiters which are going to add or which will able to recognize, okay, so this is my source and this is my destination. So this flag also can create this same kind of problem which we have seen in the byte oriented protocol. If same sequence has been appeared in the data sequence, then it will recognize that our frame has been ended, although we have not ended our frame. So here also we are going to have the stuffing, but here we are going to stuffing of one bit insertion only. Instead of byte stuffing, we are having the bit stuffing here. So in this stuffing, what we are doing, if you are having a 5 consecutive ones, then we are inserting a zero over there. तो यहाँ पर 6 1 चाहिए, अगर यहाँ पर कहीं पे 5 1 आ गया तो हम एक जीरो इंसर्ट कर देंगे, तो हमको पता चल जाएगा कि दिस इज नॉट आवर फ्लैग. So if you see, so that is a note. Bit stuffing is the process of adding extra bit if 5 ones or 0 5 ones is encountered in the data, because this is our flag 0 6 times 1 and 0. So you can see the data from the upper flag is this one. Now here 0 5 1 is there, so we have added a stuff bit here. Again here we are having a 5, so 0 is added here, and at the receiver end we have unstuffed that data. The header will contain the same information, add source and destination address. Tailor will have the information of error correction and detection codes, and flag will intimate you that our data is starting from here. So this is about bit stuffing. So now we will start this section into 2 to 5 minutes. So we will back at 10:03 or 10:04. Okay, so now we move to the second topic, that is flow and error control. So this is very much important when you are sending the data from one node to another node. Then what will happen? So, for example, first node is sending a data at 10 kbps, but the second node is not capable of receiving the data at that speed. So mutually, they have to understand that he can't send the data at that speed. So you need to work on that protocol, how he is going to manage the data. So normally, if I am speaking like if someone is sending a data at very higher speed, what I can do, I can have some memory and I can store the data for the for a period, and after that we will send that data. Because if you see the previous section also, every user will get a time for sending the data. Say for example, 10 users are trying to access a internet line. Then if it is a time division multiplexing, then after the 10th user you are going to get your chunks. Okay, so for that of kind of mutual understanding, you should need that thing. So, like if you are 10 users, that what example I am taking, then what will happen after the 10th user, the first user going to access that line. Now, you can send a packet over there, or you can send a few frames over there. Now, after that few frames, you will be idle for, say for example, you are getting a access of 1 second. 1 second का आपको access मिलता है. For next 9 seconds, you are going to be idle. So whatever the second node is there, he will receive, say for example, one packet is having a size of 100 bits, and he is a capacity of storing 10 bits in a second. So what will happen? He is having 10 seconds only, because after the first second, 9 other users are going to access that line, and then after 10th user, you are going to get the access. So total 100 seconds will be there. Now after 100 seconds, what will happen? Your data has been stored, because he is going to capture the 10 bits at a second, 10 bits another second, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. In this way, you are going to send 100 bits. Then within this 10 second, what will happen? He will going to store all the data, and then he is going to forward that message to another node. So in this way, you can have a flow control mechanism. Now, whenever you are sending some data, it should be correct. So for that thing, you need to have some error detection and correction code. So in this today's world, this is a wide area of research. Which kind of code you can add, which can detect and correct the errors. So as many errors you want to correct, then you have to add more bits over there. आपको जितने ज्यादा bits correct करने हैं, उतने ही ज्यादा bits चाहिए. So normally it is known as N, K algorithm. So linear block codes are the one of the most popular techniques which is used in the error control. LBC codes for the short. And there is a wide research which is going on this error control mechanism, because this is the most important thing in the communication. So you have in the digital electronics, you may have studied two types, like even parity, odd parity, and Hamming code. Maximum you have gone for the Hamming code. The Hamming code is having a capability of detecting two errors and correcting one error. But if you see the linear block codes, they are defined by n comma k. So n means your number of bits, k means number of overhead bits, and it is having a error correction capability of n minus k minus 1. So that many bits he can correct. As you going to increase the number of k bits, your number of error correction codes are going to increase. So in this way, you can have the implementation. So now we are going to discuss about the flow control. So the flow control refers to the set of procedures or the set of protocols used to restrict the amount of data that is sender can send before the waiting for the acknowledgement. So if I sender user A wants to send to their data user B, now what will be the maximum size of packet that you have to decide. So whatever example I have taken, if you see that example only, if your node B can store 100 bits, then you can send the 100 bits. If he has a capability of storing only 80 bits, then what you have to do? Although you can send 100 bits, but you need to send only 80 bits, because if you send 100 bits, whatever the next 20 bits will be there, they are lost और दे आर ओवर रिटर्न, तो वो वापस दूसरे राइट हो जाएंगे, तो वो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. तो हर एक बिट्स 100 बिट्स शुड बी देयर इफ यू आर सेंडिंग दोस थिंग्स. So before acknowledgement you can't send the another 80 bits. So there are various procedures to send the data or various way to control the flow of message. So where you are having the acknowledgement, so this type of scheme is known as request acknowledgement scheme. So first the node B is going to request, okay, I am free, I have sent all the data, so now you can send me the data. Once he will receive all the data, he will acknowledge the node A. So the error control in the data link layer is based on the automatic repeat request ARR, which is the retransmission of data. So error control is having both error correction as well as error detection. It allows the receiver to inform that the sender has lost the frames or having some damage in the information. So what will happen if some damage or some packets are lost? He need to retransmit that frame until he will receive the acknowledgement. So anytime if you have detected the error, you need to retransmit the message. So sometimes it is called as ARQ, automatic request repeat request. Now the third topic here is protocol. When you are sending the data, you need to follow some protocols. So there are two types of protocols, or you can classify the protocols in two categories. One is for the noisy channel, and second one is for noiseless channel. So in the noisy channel, we are having stop and wait automatic ARQ. So automatic repeat request, go back and ARQ, selective repeat ARQ. So we are going to see all those protocol in detail. So this will be the last things which we are going to study, how you are going to send. So first one is the simplest, noiseless channel will be the simplest, and the second is stop and wait. So we will start with this protocols in the next lecture, and maximum 2 lectures more required to complete your syllabus. Then most probably uh, the lectures of DCN will be over. attend a roll call? Big Data 1,
Present, sir.
2,
Yes, sir.
what you can do, you type your enrollment number in the chat window. I will take from there.
Sir, AI 51 present. Sorry, sir, I had network issues.
Sir, AI 31.